Buonasera. And this is not what I'm going to say in Italian tonight. Because, well, basically what I can say in Italian is buonasera, grazie mille, e ossobuco alla milanese. So the last one, not very useful tonight. So I will speak English. I can speak French too, although I think maybe English is better for having everyone to understand. So, but if you have questions in English or French or in Italian, we have people in the room who can we can have you help translate this into a language that I speak. So I happen to be the founder of Mozilla Europe. Let me see if my phone is not doing this anymore. No, it's airplane mode. Okay. Nice. So a couple of things I want to discuss today is I'll talk to you about Mozilla because Mozilla needs an introduction. Mozilla is really a specific organization. The second thing I want to discuss today is Firefox 4, because you will see there are tons of very cool things coming with Firefox 4, which release candidate was published today, during the night. And finally, I will leave it to my French colleague Paul Rouget, who will do demonstrations of what we can do with HTML5 and other things related to this technology. So Mozilla, who are we? Mozilla, many see Mozilla as a browser vendor, an innovative browser vendor, someone who actually challenges Microsoft. All of this is true, but the fact is Mozilla is a global community of volunteers from all over the world, including here in Italy with Mozilla Italia. We are led by a non-profit organization called the Mozilla Foundation. And we exist because we want to improve the web. We think that the web is a global resource, and we need to take care of this. This is what we do. We work for a mission, and we're a non-profit organization. The good thing is we have an influence on the market. We have influence because we have users. We have basically 400 million users in the world, which is roughly 30% market share, which is very significant. Firefox 4, there are a couple of few things you will notice when you launch Firefox 4 and you start using it seriously. The first thing that will strike you is the speed improvement. We have invested a lot of time and energy in making Firefox 4 much faster and generally snappier, more performant than Firefox 3.6. The second thing you'll notice is the new user interface. And you will see as the web evolves, as the way the web is used by users, we also help and lead the way in changing the browser to reflect the new kind of usage. The third thing is that Firefox 4 is launching too in a mobile version running on Android smartphones. The good and amazing thing is that the Android version and the desktop version are synchronized altogether. So they basically share the same browsing history and everything. I'll talk more about it. And finally, it is a platform for web developers to be creative, innovative, and invent totally different applications. And this is what we'll see in the demonstration, as Paul has created demonstrations that really are leading the way in way applications are going to be developed in the future. Richer, more interactive, with sound, with video, animated graphics, 3D, hardware accelerated rendering, very, very cool things and very bleeding edge. So let's go back to the first point, which is the performance of JavaScript. Performance of Firefox in general and JavaScript in particular. Here is a couple of benchmarks. In gray you have Firefox 3.6, and in red you have Firefox 4, and we have three benchmarks. And the smaller it is, the better it is. SunSpider is a benchmark made by Apple, and in this benchmark, speak louder. Okay. So I'm going to do without the microphone. Okay, all right. So without the microphone, I need my bottle of water. So SunSpider, which is a benchmark made by Apple, we're 3 times faster on this benchmark. So Firefox 4, 3 times faster. On another benchmark, this is called Presidente, done by Mozilla, we're also 3 times faster. And on a benchmark made by Google called V8, we're 6 times faster. This is between 3.6 released from last year to this year. So major improvements.
You're not loud enough, sorry.
Major improvements. That sounds much better to me. Major improvements in terms of speed. All right. So SunSpider that I mentioned earlier, and on this graph, what we do is this one here on the left is Firefox 3.0 from 3 years ago. Then next is Firefox 3.5, then 3.6, and now this is the browser of this year. So it's Firefox 4, latest Chrome version, IE9, and latest Safari. So as you can see, we've made a lot of effort over the years, but we are doing it again. And basically, if you want to be a competitive browser here in 2011, you got to be really fast. SunSpider was useful, but now we have better benchmarks that reflect better how the web and how the browsers actually work. So we at Mozilla have done Kraken because we think it's better than the other benchmarks. But of course, it is done by Mozilla, so you could argue that it's a benchmark which is favorable to us. And actually, we do win on this benchmark. But on the benchmark done by Facebook called JS Game Bench, it's an initiative from Facebook to determine which browser is able to do HTML5 games that are not rendered by Flash. So they do this benchmark, and actually you'll see that Firefox is number 1, IE9 is number 2, which may be surprising, and far behind is Chrome, number 3, and then Safari, number 4. All of this is done by Facebook, so we have unfortunately very little influence over it. The second thing, apart from speed, that you will notice is the new look of Firefox, a new user interface. We have been working in order to give more screen real estate, more room for the content itself, a little less room for the user interface. So we have removed the menu bar on Linux and Windows. Also, you can have it back if you want. And the most used pieces of the menu are now located in a Firefox button on the top left corner of the window. Second thing you'll notice in these changes is that tabs are on top of the location bar instead of being under. And third is a bookmark that you see here, bookmark button, that enable you to access your bookmarks. This is just the tip of the iceberg. We also have been working hard on the efficiency of the user interface. I don't know if you're like me, but very often, because it's so easy to open a new tab and find a page that you're looking for, and I create a new tab even if this page is already loaded, maybe 1 or 2 times in other tabs. But it's faster to reopen a new tab and find that page rather than find the old tab that is already open. So now we have the switch to tab thing, which basically when I try to open a new tab and reload something that already is open, I'm suggested to go and switch to the existing tab rather than to open a new tab. So by the end of the day, there is less chaos in your tabs, and also less memory used, and overall more efficiency, because it's already loaded, and so you don't have to wait for the page to load. It is built for web apps, and this is probably the thing that I like the most with Firefox 4, apart from speed and the next feature I'm going to describe. This is called web apps, app tabs, sorry, for web apps. More and more people, use web apps. I mean, there are pages they spend a lot of time in. People are not just browsing the web, like Wikipedia, where you have a page which is static, and you have a blue link, and if you're interested, you click on it, you're taken to a new page, etc. This is called surfing or browsing. Of course, it does exist and will exist for a very long time. It's the web of documents, if you will. But now there is also the web of applications. One of the applications I use personally is Twitter. I spend a lot of time on Twitter, but also my webmail, my web calendar. I'm also a blogger, so I spend a lot of time on the administration part of my blog to moderate the comments and stuff like that. So I have applications, and instead of taking a lot of space in the tab bar, they are put on the left next to the arrow that you see here. So here we have a Twitter and a Flickr app tabs. They're always there. Even if I have dozens of tabs, they're always there, and they take just a little space on the screen. Panorama is my second favorite feature. It's very useful if you have a lot of tabs open. The issue if you have 60 tabs open at the same time is they're all aligned together, and you can only see, depending on the screen size, maybe only 10 or 15 of them. And you don't know where they are, and you have to scroll and guess where they are if you want to find them. Panorama enables you to have groups of tabs, and you see thumbnails of these groups, and you can switch from one group to the other. So I can organize my tabs and be more efficient. Can have tabs for my work, tabs for an article I plan to write, tabs for planning my vacations, and things like this, and decide to focus on one task or the other. I switch from one group to the other. Something that Firefox has been leading like pretty much forever. We have actually introduced the notion of customization of the browser when we launched 6 years ago. And we're still leading, and we plan to keep on leading in this direction. So that people can create extensions, try extensions, adopt extensions, and use them more easily. So we do this in 3 ways. The first way is that we have a new add-on manager, which is more efficient and more pleasant to use, that you see here on the screen. That's one thing. Second thing is that we can have restartless add-ons. It means that extensions do not require restarting the browser. It means it's when you want to try a new extension, it's easy. You click in there, you click on it, it's downloaded, takes 1 or 2 seconds, and it works right away. Nothing else to do. No need to restart Firefox. And if you're not happy with it, you click again, and it's uninstalled. and you're done. Immediately. 0 seconds to wait. So it's going to be very good for adoption of extensions because the barrier to adoption has been lowered to the minimum. The third thing that we're doing is that we're working on an SDK, which is basically a tool to enable developers to create extensions easily. And it's actually aimed at web developers specifically. So there are millions of web developers in the world, and if they want to create an extension with the SDK, they can use their knowledge of JavaScript to write extensions very quickly for Firefox. So we're widening the number of people who can create an extension for Firefox. So we plan with these three things, we plan to really push further the notion of extensibility and customization of the browser. The fourth thing is that we are going to launch roughly at the same time as Firefox 4. We're going to launch a version of it on Android phones and tablets. So it's exactly the same rendering engine on the smartphones on Android than on Windows and Linux. So the same cool things we can do on the desktop, we'll be able to do them in your pocket on your Android phone. WebGL with 3D, very good looking fonts and rounded corners and old CSS3. This is very nice. And the icing on the cake here is that the mobile version on Android and the desktop version can be synchronized with the cloud, through the cloud. Means I can have a tab open. Say I want to go to the restaurant tonight in Milan. I'm looking for something on my desktop computer. I decide to go to this restaurant. I close my computer, I leave, and when I'm in the street, I say, I forgot writing down the address of the restaurant. I can very quickly open the tab where the website for the restaurant is from my desktop. Just one click, and it displays here, and I have the address, and I can go there. So it's really a synchronization of the tabs that are open, but also your browsing history. And the browsing history is very precious in the sense that it's the thing that knows where you've been in the past, and so it will give you suggestions. If you start typing in your address bar, it will allow you to find the places that you want to visit very, very quickly, which is very cool on a desktop, but very useful on these things who do not have a keyboard. You know, just one or two clicks on the virtual keyboard, and then you find the website that you were looking for. All your bookmarks are synchronized, and also your passwords to website, which is also very useful because typing a good password on these tiny keyboards is just very painful. Now, you know, it's your browsing history. It's basically where you've been. It's your bookmarks, which is basically what you like on the web. It's your open tabs, which means basically what you're doing right now on the web. And it's also your passwords, which basically are your identity on the web. All of this is extremely precious, and we want it to stay private. So what we do is we encrypt things on the client, means on the desktop and on the mobile version, so that when it's stored on the cloud on Mozilla servers, it is encrypted. Even Mozilla cannot read it. We cannot do profiling, we cannot do data mining, we cannot serve advertising, anything. It's just your data, and it stays private. And even if you're paranoid and really don't trust Mozilla with this encryption thing, you can run your own server if you want. We give you the software. It's free software, it's open source, you can use it. So I already used this first bullet here, private and safe. We're also the first browser to implement the do not track feature, which basically says, enables basically the user to say, I do not want to be tracked. And the website decides to say, okay, I'm not tracking you, or maybe ignore and still keep tracking you. What the beauty of this is that governments in the European Union and also in the US are discussing this with advertisers. And so if when Firefox 4 launches, 400 million people can have the choice of not being tracked, then it is a very powerful way to start the discussion between the advertising industry, the governments, and the users. So this is why we did it. We also have improved the security of browsing by making sure the browsing history stays private, because there were cascading style sheet issues that could reveal this. So we fixed them. We've improved encryption to stop man-in-the-middle attack with a technology called HSTS, and also another kind of attack which is cross-site scripting. Are prevented with a technology called CSP. And now I think I'm done for now with the Firefox 4 features, and enough talking. A little more showing, and I leave it to my colleague and friend, Paul Rouget, who's author of many cool demos